Welcome to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where we think we know everything, but we really don't know shit. Today, we will have a special guest with us. We're not going to reveal that right now. But we will be talking some Bears, possibly a little Bulls talk, about, who they can possibly get in the draft. Hopefully, we're praying, fingers crossed, that they can possibly move up into the top three. Get a real good player, maybe Cooper Flag. Highly unlikely unless they're going to pull a Derrick Rose type situation again, which would be great for us and beneficial for the NBA because the NBA is always and will always be a lot better when the big market teams are doing good. But the only bad part about it is that our ownership and front office are fucking idiots. So that makes things a little hard. It doesn't matter who you get. Then you got...
What an idiot.
Then you got Billy Donovan. Not a good coach. Not at all. Cubs are winning. Sox are losing. And the WNBA season is about to kick off. So that and more next on the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. Cricket, hit it!
You are now rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where they think they know everything, but honestly, they don't know shit.
These summer league games and they tell you about these new up-and-coming coaches.
I think we should get rid of every motherfucking owner in Chicago.
Enzo and Caruso both can air around the corner like your defensive generals.
But they need to get that strong safety who's not scared to hit somebody.
They really don't know shit.
Well, that is the rumor. We really don't know shit. Sometimes we really don't know shit. We don't know. You know who else don't know shit? The Bulls, management, ownership. They don't know shit. A lot of sports teams, the White Sox, management, ownership, don't know shit. Surprisingly, they do have the same owner. Jerry's still here, huh? Sad. Anyway, we'd like to welcome you all to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where we think we know everything and we really don't know shit. Today, we will be grace with a special guest. He does have his own podcast. It does pretty well. I'm subscribed to it. I tend to watch him a lot. We'll introduce him later on. He'll be on probably maybe in the next half an hour, 40 minutes or something like that. So we're going to talk some Bears. Bears. The draft has come and go. I think rookie minicamp may start something, I think this weekend. I don't know. That should be very interesting to see the rookie minicamp. Get a look at Colston Loveland, Luther Burton, Ozzy, Hippolyte, whatever his name is, sound Egyptian, Evans, the dude from Michigan State. I think his first name is Luke. Running back from Rutgers. Did I miss somebody? I might have. We also get a chance to talk about, there's a lot of rumors out there about the Bears being interested in a few running backs that's still available in free agency. Also, there's talk about a Tooney extension coming up. That and more that we'll be talking about today. So that should be very interesting. Also, I want you guys to chime in. I think we're going to put a link in so we can see you guys come on and talk to us. Tell us what you're thinking about as far as when it relates to these Chicago sports teams, particularly the Bears, who we tend to talk about majority of the time. New Hopper, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? Welcome back. Yes, Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins. We'll give our opinions on who we actually prefer. So, without further ado, enough of me rambling on. I will start bringing in the dream team. First up, it's my man that knows all the stats from the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. Our boy JB.
What's going on?
And I'll be here. Maybe he's not ready.
Can you hear me?
I can see you now and I can hear you.
Okay. Just a great little delay.
It happens.
Man, just was that
Nobody knows what Crook is doing back there. Nobody knows.
Press the button. No.
Right.
No.
What is she doing? I never know what she's doing back there.
Oh man, that never gets old. But no, just looking, the Bears have had some little camps and stuff that was going on. For some reason, I saw a short on YouTube. A former Bear, Tank Johnson, some kind of way he had reported. I don't know. He made some comments about Caleb and him looking good but struggling. I'm like, what is he looking good and struggling with? A route tree? Like, what are you talking about right now? It's a little too early to be making those type of assumptions. But hey, he went on and he started talking about it. So we'll just have to see where that goes. I, for one, am just interested in who else they're bringing in to compete for some positions and just to get some more depth. It's never enough depth. I know you mentioned the running back positions. I'm a little skeptical, man, because although Nick Chubb is the preferred of the two, both of those guys are very injury prone. Well, Nick has had two big injuries, whereas J.K. Dobbins seems to always be injured from even when it's time, in Baltimore. He just seems to be hurt. I don't recall him ever being a 1,000-yard rusher.
No, he does have a 1,000-yard season now one time in the NFL.
I think his closest was 7 something, almost 8.
Actually, it was last year was his best season, and he still didn't crack 1,000
with the Chargers, right?
Yeah, he only played I think in 13 games, but it was his best season. He didn't crack 1,000 yards,
and he was hurt again.
Yeah. We in our chat we went back and forth about who we choose between J.K. and Nick Chubb, and I understand, Nick Chubb is the older one. He's probably had more serious injuries, but both of them always hurt. But I'd much rather go with the proven guy.
I would go with the proven guy just for the simple fact on this roster, he doesn't have to carry the ball 300 times. So you'd be able to preserve him, less wear and tear, and then you're creating a 1-2 punch with a proven guy. I don't know if Roshan, Ian Wheeler could, crack.
Yeah, I actually like Elin, man. I was really rooting for Elin. There's a good chance that if he didn't tear his ACL last year, that he possibly could have been on the roster and maybe even gave us a little something. I like him.
I don't see a problem with him. He's in-house. I mean, he's not going to cost us much of nothing. The one thing I would say about Ian Wheeler, though, is this. If he was to come into the fold and you try to have that 1-2 punch, who's the odd man out? Because from what I saw from Ian, he kind of gives me that like he's an every down back player.
Yeah.
But I know that, coming from Ben Johnson's system up north, even with Jamal Williams, like he likes the 2-back set. So, would Wheeler be a third down back primarily, kind of like how what's my man name that the Chiefs had just went to
talking about Hilaire?
No. The third down back that they had, number one, all he do is seem to catch balls off the backfield.
Are you talking about McKinnon?
Like McKinnon, like Jarek McKinnon.
Yeah.
You know, if he's going to play that type of role, keep in mind they are, although it's not a lot, they are still paying Swift about $7 million and some change. He's still on the contract for another 2 years. You know, I kind of would shy away from just, you know, going out and throwing big money at somebody else. I feel like a J.K. Dobbins or a Nick Chubb, their paydays are behind them, so they just trying to get on.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking about that a little bit more too, because I'm pretty sure people really gonna have some things to say about, you know, J.K. Dobbins, Nick Chubb. So let's bring in the third member of the All-Star squad, the Tank, better known as Frank. Frank, the Tank, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Pretty good, man. I see we got a couple people in here. We got New Hopper, shout out, Bullets up in here, TTNL Runaway up in here.
Oh wait, what does he got
up in here?
TTNL? I got another one already. Look at this. It's like he knows.
Bears down up in here.
Total two Nutter Lovers. I love this guy.
Yeah,
This guy's good.
like they go against everything. Oh, here he goes.
Don Burr, man.
Don Burr.
Still waiting, my man. Still waiting. We would welcome you in here with open arms to chat, dude. Just you let us know. We're gonna say it every time we see you on.
Hey, Burr ain't getting on, man.
I would love for TTNL Runaway to get on.
Yeah, it's a good one too, actually. Yeah. See if I can try to get a hold of him. No, but like what you guys were saying, and kind of like what he brought up too, TTNL Runaway. My opinion, I would rather have the proven guy as well. I mean, he's going to be your number 2 option. Dobbins is good, but again, he always seemed to have nagging injuries. After he'd have a good game or maybe 2 good games, then he might be out for a game, and then another good game, and then he'd be out for another good game. It was very inconsistent. Chubb, is going to be in there unless he can't be in there anymore. That's how I feel about Chubb. And watching him do those little workout videos of him leaping over the stuff and then hitting the ceiling on his jump, like, damn, man, he is athletic to go along with a bruiser. So, yeah. So, I mean, we're not asking him to come in here and be a number 1. Obviously, Swift's your number 1, but man, to have another guy like Chubbs to be your number 2, I'd be more than happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I've sitting up here and listened to a couple of podcasts, within the last couple of days, and everybody's just itching to see what exactly the Bears going to do. They call us the off-season champions for the 3rd year in a row,
man.
Which goes back to what I was stating before about, and I know there's a lot of people that don't like Ryan Poles, and I get it. He's going to have his hits and his misses like every other GM.
Every GM has this.
Yeah, but the thing is this: if you're that damn bad at your job, people, not just us casual fans, not just the national media, but it seems like everybody, it's a consensus. Oh, the Bears won the offseason again. So that is more contribute to the GM. Yeah. Now, what we do know is that the coaching has been very subpar, which tends to lead you to believe that the GM has not been doing his job because of the bad coaching and some of the decisions that they make. I like coaching staff. I really do. I think this is probably the best coaching staff that we've had in forever, if not ever.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, too, with all the people who, if they do dislike Poles, like how you said, I mean, okay, I mean, it's understandable, but I still feel this is the first time where I feel like Poles and Ben Johnson are picking their guys. As before, we always felt like ownership was involved. I don't feel that way right now. Ever since we got Kevin Warren, I don't feel that way anymore. And that's where it's optimistic to at least we have a GM who is picking his guys and what the coach wants as well.
Go ahead, JB. I already know you biting at the bit.
No, I mean, you guys are right, but at the same time, like, what has winning the offseason got us in the last couple of seasons, and even a little bit before that?
Good picks in the first, good numbers in the first round.
Because some of those same prognosticators that I've seen on the national media, Bears have won the offseason, but you know what they didn't do? They didn't pick the Bears to win the division. They also did not pick the Bears to go to the playoffs. I just saw a mock-up.
And at the same time, our division hasn't been this good in a long time, too.
That's right. So we couldn't win the division when it was bad. Now we're not going to win it when it's actually good. And it's like, I'm tired of the participation awards, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I want to get out there and I want the Bears to go back to the old days, like establish dominance on both sides of the ball, put your foot on people's necks, apply pressure, don't give up. I know you guys wanted to give the gentleman a little bit more of a chance. 3 years ago, I told you Matt Eberflus sucked. I didn't need to see no more after the first couple of games. I'm like, nah, you don't know what he's doing. And now we got a guy on paper who knows what he's doing. You got to give him the pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also got to let him groom those pieces, 100%. Let him groom his players, let him get his system, make it infectious so that everybody lives it, loves it, learns it. And then he's got to have his growing pains as well as a first-time head coach. That's why it's important, Val, to your point, to have a staff like this. The last time I think we had a staff close to this with that high-caliber talent, wouldn't that be that Lovie Smith team that had Ron Rivera, Lovie Smith, Mike Martz, Dave Tobe, I forgot the gentleman that was a wide receivers coach that was Pep Hamilton. Wasn't it that?
Yeah, I mean, Lovie kept the good staff as well. A bunch of veterans, guys that knew what they were doing, and it's amazing.
Happy birthday, Ron! I'm glad he was fired on your birthday.
Yeah, he got fired on his birthday. Damn, that's the way to go out.
That's the best birthday present you can get. Best birthday present.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The only thing that would be better if fucking Billy Donovan was fired on your birthday too. Then it would have been heaven. Not to change topics, we're talking about the Bears. But just
GMs that don't know what they're doing. Yeah, well, that's the next segment.
But I mean, and I agree with you guys. I mean, and this is the thing. Like, when was the last time that we got a coach on paper is supposed to be that guy? John Fox? Like, was the last guy on paper you were hoping to be that guy, but you just surrounded him with shit. Like, you gave him nothing to work with. And what did we have him for? 2 years only?
Yeah, Fox stayed 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years, you didn't even really give him a chance to grow, but at the same time, you didn't draft the players he wanted either. So he wasn't going to grow.
But that was the Bear thing to do back then. Like, the first time you get, like I told you guys we want a proven coach. Man took two different franchises to Super Bowls, and you didn't give him anything he wanted.
No.
That's crazy.
And shout out David with the Trestman reference. I mean, on paper, we were hoping Trestman was going to be that guy, but I mean, I was one of those guys like, you got somebody from the Canadian Football League, dude. I don't care.
I can't.
It's like going to get somebody off of a Pop Warner Football League to freaking shit ain't the same.
And well, Trestman was supposed to be a mind, right?
Yes, that quarterback guru.
But you see, first of all, the Canadian field is bigger, and they got 3 downs instead of 4. Mm-hmm. The game is different. Then when you have people like Jerry Rice,
I'll give that to you, Dave.
When you have Jerry Rice and Tim Brown telling you, don't do it.
Yeah.
He's not what you think. And then, like I said, if you go way back in the Wayback Machine, when Dave Wanstead was the hottest thing coming out after winning the 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, and we picked him up. And the Wani years were interesting.
Very.
But I don't think either one of those carried the hype that Ben Johnson has, only because it's an offensive-minded head coach with a proven track record so far on offense.
And you paid him the money.
Like, you
open that paycheck, and you said, pick your number, dude. We're the highest paid quarterback right there for a first-time quarterback. So, I mean, and again, that was something the Bears don't do. So there was another reason where I was just like, all right, I feel better. feel better. Other people like you, JB, you wanted like a Pete Carroll, somebody with a little bit more experience and everything, which I wouldn't have been mad at that. I would have been fine with a Pete Carroll. But I still feel he was the number one guy that everybody was talking about, and the Bears went out and got him. So I got to give him a shout out for that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Ben Johnson was the number one guy that everybody was talking about. And actually, for probably the past 2 years, right?
Yeah, because the Bears, I wanted them to not give Trust or what's his name, Eberflus another chance.
Yeah, and trust me, I like Dave Wanstead. I like listening to him sometimes. Sometimes he rattles on a little too much, but
He's old.
Yeah, I mean, it comes with age for sure.
Yeah, but Dave Wanstead, he seemed like when the Bears had him, he seemed like he was like a low budget dicker. That's what they were like. They were trying to, get somebody to fill that dicker role,
Yeah.
So I was like, because he's a Pittsburgh guy, Steel City, very blue collar,
look.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Like, he was given an aging defense
in the hair.
Yeah. Butkus had that prime time defense and everything like that. By the time it got to Weinstead, you had the aging defense. You didn't really give him nearly as much to work with. Not giving him the benefit of a doubt or anything like that. But when it comes down, when you're trying to compare the coaches, let's also not forget who the offense or the defensive coordinator that Butkus had too. Or I'm sorry, not Butkus, Ditka had as well. Like,
Buddy Ryan.
You can't say anything bad when it comes down to Buddy Ryan. And I mean, you got his sons and everything coaching and everything too. So yeah, I mean, when it's all said and done, coaching makes a big difference. And that is something we still have not had since Lovey, since we got rid of Lovey after a 10-6 season.
Yeah, we have one season, I think, Matt Nagy's first season, and then it seemed like, yeah. And
I think we had the Jay Cutler years too. Who was when we went to the NFC Championship game? Who was our coach with Jay Cutler? Was that Trestman's first year, wasn't it?
No, Trestman, I don't think was more than 8-8.
Yeah, Trestman really got no respect at all.
No.
They had that one.
His first year, he had a really good offense, but the defense was so old.
Right.
Like, we couldn't stop anybody. But I mean, who was the coach when we had the NFC Championship game where we got to again where we lost to the Packers?
I don't know. Ron is saying that the Bears' second round pick looks like another Velus Jones.
No
further from the
Velus Jones, and shout out. We got to get the Velvet Jones thing going on now. Commish, help us out here.
He's gone, fellas. Ain't no point.
We haven't been able to use that in a while. But you can't compare the two. That is a horrible comparison because Velus Jones was a speedster, yes, like this guy was a speedster, yes. But the difference was this guy is also an excellent route runner. He can jump up and get the ball. He can do a lot of things on that wide receiving spot. Velus Jones only had speed. That was it.
And couldn't really
crazy.
No, he had no hands, couldn't jump up to get the ball, couldn't route run.
He
actually was a better run. He was a better running back, in my opinion, than he was a wide receiver.
Yeah, and the crazy part of it was I've been talking with people, and a lot of people think that Luther Burton is the steal of the draft. We'll see.
Yeah,
we see. I mean, I think that he's. Tell you the truth, I'm still trying to figure out how the hell a guy like fucking Will Johnson went all the way in the second round. I mean, everybody talks about Shador dropping. What about Will Johnson?
I was thinking about that, but there was two, right? It was two corners ahead of him that were kind of like,
whoa. It may have been more than that because I think it was a couple corners that went in the second round before he went.
Well, right, because we was waiting on Will and we was waiting on
Hey, New Harper, I love you, man. I knew we had
Xavier's a safety, but we were waiting on them two to see if they're going to be around. Will Johnson, I mean, a great cover corner, good size, good speed.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could say the same with Xavier Watts, too. Like, I mean, I was surprised that Xavier Watts still snuck back that far as well. Like,
I think they had him projected to go in the second round, right?
He went late second round. They thought he was going to go early second.
Yeah,
But I mean,
but
he
Will
was there
Johnson
when the
was
Bears
like,
had both their picks. So I was like,
Will Johnson was supposed to be a top 20
top 10 pick.
Top
Like
10.
it was like unanimous. So it wasn't like nobody was projecting him to go in the second round. Hell, you even have a few people say that, oh, Shador may slip to the second round. There was no one saying that Will Johnson was going to the second round.
No, that was surprising for sure.
Yeah.
And on the chat, I want to give a shout out, New Harper, love you, man. But I need you to explain how they didn't use him right. They tried to use him in like 10 or 15 different roles. Nothing worked. Like there was nothing that worked. He couldn't.
You know what? He was actually
outside.
decent at the running back position.
He wasn't bad as like your secondary or third surprise speedster type running back. That's what I was saying. He was probably a better running back than he was a receiver. But you tried using him in special teams. He fumbled the ball too much. You tried using him in the slot. He was a horrible route runner. You tried using him in the outside. He couldn't catch the ball. Like there was nothing he could do. So you can't really say that.
He went from Dante Hall to being Debo Samuels. Then they tried to make him Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, that's actually perfectly said. That's a nice trend right there. Absolutely.
He failed at every stretch. But yeah, foul. It was. Remember, the kid from Kentucky that just kind of shot up in the draft board, the DB from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
He had went in the first round. And Barron, I don't know if that's the same Barron whose dad is Mark Barron that played in the league. Mm-hmm. But that kid, where is he from? Arkansas, Arizona? I mean, not Arizona, Alabama, one of them.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Hottie Barron or something like that. Yeah, those are the
Mark Barron, I think, something like that, yeah.
They went in the first round. That's why I was like, what did Will Johnson do? Don't tell me he interviewed badly too.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see because the rookie mini camp is this weekend, right?
Yeah, it's Thursday, right? Is it Thursday?
Yeah, it might be. So I'm interested to see, how it's going to be people's first look. I'm pretty sure we'll get plenty of reports on how Ben Johnson conducted his first camp, how everything looks as far as we get a look at all the new rookies. I'm very intrigued by Evans, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, of course. I know there's a lot of talk about the big offensive lineman from Boston College,
Trapilio, how do you say?
Yeah, Ozzy, whatever his name. I just call him
Ozzy. Much easier to call him.
Pronounce his last name. So there's a lot of talk about that guy possibly coming in because Braxton Jones with his injury isn't healthy, that he may get a good shot at the left tackle position. Then there's also talk about Darnell Wright moving to the left tackle position. Then there's talk about Karam Amagaji getting a chance to, I wouldn't count him out just yet. You got to also remember, what was he? He was a third round pick himself, with Ozzy, of course, being a second round pick. But it's going to be some good competition. People were complaining about Poles not addressing the offensive line. I don't think it wasn't addressing. It was just that, hell, motherfuckers couldn't stay healthy. You ain't got no continuity. That's just like now. God forbid, knock on wood, Joe Tooney, Dahlman, Jackson, if they start getting hurt, how much better do you think this offensive line is going to be if they got no continuity?
Well, you said that last season, and remember the stat that you had brought up, shout out to you, about the number of combinations they've had in his tenure is just asinine. It's absurd. And a lot of it is just not just to placement, but to your point, like injuries. Yeah. But to this current regime, injuries aside, they still need time to build that continuity because they're all playing together for the first time. Joe Tooney can be an anchor, right? But Dahlman has had his struggles coming off of injuries and with his fumble exchange not being a dominant pass blocker better on the run. And Jackson, as we well know, won a Super Bowl, played with Johnson's system, but also lost his position to a rookie last year. Where's his motivation? Those little intangible games that have to be tightened up because now our weakness was up the middle. We've fortified that to a point where I feel it's better than last year. Now we talking about flipping Darnell Wright to the left and possibly bring it. Now you making this kid like that. Like I think that was Steve Edwards. We were saying the footwork from the left to the right. It may seem slight, but it is totally different.
Yeah, and it baffles me how people actually think like that's an easy transition to go from the right tackle to the left tackle. It's not easy. And we getting this from actual offensive linemen. This ain't some guys that's going to play football or like I call them the fucking nerd squad. These analytic guys that they let the fucking nerds into the game where they come up with all this type of numbers. Well, the percentages say this, the numbers say this. No, it's actually hard to go from the right side to the left side. It's not something that's going to be easily done.
It's like writing with your right hand all your life. Then all of a sudden somebody says, hey, start writing with your left. Wait, I need time. I got to figure this out. Yeah. And that's what they don't get. And I just caution these OTAs are going to be so important.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, let's put this out there. Please, everybody, do not overreact to the rookie mini camp. You know, don't sit up there and say, oh, my God, Luther Burton's out there. He looks lost. He's dropping passes and all this. Or Ozzie looks too slow. His feet is not moving and all this type of stuff. Come on. It's rookie mini camp. Please. And if someone looks great, don't say, oh, yes, they're going to be up there for offensive rookie of the year or defensive rookie of the year. You know, none of that type of stuff. It's just the first camp. Don't overreact if people sit up there and they don't like the way that Ben Johnson, because there's always critics. There's always something positive. There will always be something negative. If they feel like, oh, Ben Johnson, he really doesn't know what he's doing. He seems a little soft-spoken. He doesn't have that same rah-rah that he had in interviews and all that type of stuff. Please just chill out. It's just the first time.
And they got to, you know, like anything, they're going from college to the pro, so they need a learning curve as well. Mm-hmm. You know, so we'll give them some. It's just that people are just so excited that football is on the horizon again.
You always got to have something to argue about.
Yeah, right? well, not even argue, but just to look
about something
forward to. Because, like, to Harper's position, even with him saying that we've weakened the Lions. True, we may have weakened their coaching staff a little bit, but they still have the head guy, and they still have the players. Now, I know Don Burr is probably going to be happy when I say this, but from what I've been hearing and reading, Morton is not bad. Morton was with Gruden. Morton was with Sean Payton. They say Morton got this. So it's not like they may have just, you know, obviously Ben Johnson, but the Lions are still the Lions right now. And they're not the bad Lions of our generation. They're actually the pretty good Lions still. So we got to – he said –
wow.
That Woo!
I mean, if that was true, I don't think he's signed yet. Is he? is he even on a roster?
Remember he
I don't know.
Was it Carolina? Where did we say he was at?
Somebody once we cut him, he signed, but I don't think they re-signed him. I don't think he's anybody right now.
Like, is there an APB out for Velvet Jones right now? Like, seriously?
Where's he at?
What's he doing? This out.
Oh no, Jacksonville. That's what it was. He went to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And we were looking because we played. I was like, watch him go to Jacksonville. He went to Jacksonville, and I think he was going to try to play running back. Nope.
Well, check this out. I'm tired of talking about Velvet or Velvet Jones. So right now, we're going to bring in our special guest for the night. This is a guy that I'm actually subscribed to his channel. It's Just Another Year in Chicago. The guy's young. He's on fire. He brings a lot of good information, a lot of great insight. And I think he got some inside connections because he be saying a lot of things that we don't know and find out until later. So without further ado, let me go on and bring in the host of Just Another Year in Chicago, our boy Nick Brody.
What's up, guys?
Nick, what's up?
Nick, how you feeling, man? Welcome back.
It's good to be back. It's been way too long, but I'm happy to be back.
Yes, sir, man. I see you was overseas kicking it with some of your boys, right?
So a lot of people don't know this, but I actually have a 9-to-5 job, and what I do for a living is I design marketing strategies for a French company. So they send me over to Europe quite a few times a year. And when I was over there last time, I think you guys saw me. I was there right before the draft. So
Okay.
it's been crazy. It's been crazy. It's good to come over there. And what's crazy is that because of the 90s Bulls, everyone in Paris, everyone in France loves Chicago sports teams.
Yeah.
I was wearing I was actually wearing my like Chicago Bears Letterman jacket, and everyone was like, "Where'd you get that?" And I'm like, "I'm from Chicago," and it starts a nice conversation. So I don't care what people say about French people; they are very nice. I know that they're like, "Oh, Americans, we don't like them." Well, I've never had a bad experience, so it's pretty cool. But
I gotta say, I had a bad experience. Just throwing that out.
I'm not saying I've only had good. I have had a bad experience. I want to hear your bad experience.
I almost got arrested. We'll just say that to begin with.
I didn't have that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I was young. We'll say it like that. But they because I couldn't speak the language, they tried charging me to go to the bathroom in public.
Oh yeah, they do not like.
So I just pissed on the side of the building.
Oh,
right while they were looking, so they called the cops and I took off.
Well, the only time I've ever been yelled at, of course I was talking about the Bears, and French wine was definitely flowing a little bit, and for everyone that needs to know is that when you're in a French restaurant, unless you are outside, if you're inside, you have to be very quiet. And I was not very quiet about the Bears. And some big French dude turned around and said, "Hey, you ugly American, I'm trying to enjoy my dinner." Yeah. And in my head, I was like, if you were on my side of the pond, in fact, if you were in Chicago, oh man, you would be outside, buddy. But anyway, we're not here to talk about me going to Paris. We're here to talk about the Chicago Bears, the greatest team in the entire world.
Exactly. So tell me, Nick, what do you think about what the Bears have done so far? Were there any surprises that you were shocked about as far as draft wise?
I'm not shocked by the draft. And at first, Colston Loveland, I didn't see it coming because he was not talked about at all. Shout out to my man Swifty Sports. He was the only one talking about Colston Loveland. And when we drafted him, I was like, crap. Like, what are we doing here? We had Tyler Warrenson right there. But then you break him down a little bit more. He's 3 years younger. He's had better stats than him consistently. And what he did with non-JJ McCarthy is so impressive. So the Bears didn't get and this is what I want everyone to know, is that the Bears didn't go out and get sexy names. That's not what they were going to do. And the only sexy names we've ever taken is Darnell Wright, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams. And if you think about that, all top 10 picks. They should be good names. Colston Loveland is a good name. They got every need that they had. I give the Bears an A- on their draft. I think they did a really good job. The only pick that I'm still skeptical of is Ruben Hypolite. I think we could have gotten him later. I think we could have taken a running back. I think we should not have traded because Cam Scatteraboo was right there. And we needed a bruiser. But I love this kid out of Rutgers. And I think what they're going to do with Hypolite is they're going to make him a safety because he's 5'11", 233, and he runs under a 4.5. Kid's fast as hell for being that big. I see him being a safety because Brisker and all his issues. So I give it an A-, but I think they did a really good job in the draft. I'm more happy with free agency, but I think they had a good draft.
Okay. Tell me something then. If you feel that they had an A- and you feel they got everything they needed, then why are we still clamoring for an edge rusher? Which was number one on the list. Tight end was the last. No, matter of fact, when I watched the draft, tight end wasn't even on the screen.
Yeah.
Or it was edge rusher, D tackle, left tackle, and running back.
I know. And so because in free agency, you got to look at there's Von Miller out there who Dennis Allen developed, right? And that's a pretty good person to have on your roster.
Available. I forgot about that.
Even though
Miller's available now, but he's like 137 years old.
Well, yeah, he's not gonna be.
He's also got 137 sacks. You know what I mean? I will say this is that, like, from an edge rusher perspective, he wouldn't be my first choice. I really like Zadarius Smith, who was in Detroit, and Ben Johnson knows what kind of playing style he is. But when you're looking at all these edges, think about Montez Sweat, think about Dio, think about Austin Booker. What do they all have in common? They're above 6'4.5". And that's what Dennis Allen loves. Yeah. So Von Miller, I think he's just 6'4", and Khalil Mack is Dennis Allen's only short edge. I mean, I'm 5'10" on a good day. Like those guys are massive compared to me, but in the NFL, they're big dudes or they're small dudes. I'm with you though. Like, I think that we need to let this defensive line kind of work out. And we did just spend $16.5 million a year on Dio. Like, we got our edge. You know what I mean?
Wait, do we?
We're hoping. I mean, I don't think he was really given a chance. He showed flashes that he can be the guy, but and let's not forget, we did draft Turner. Like, I mean, he's another big guy. He can stop the run. He can put pressure to get the quarterback at least moving. Like, I mean, I would have still. I'm with JB on this one though as well.
For me, knowing that, and I'm not saying anything about Ben Johnson, so don't take this out of context. Yes, we need to give him what he needs to make his offense slightly resemble what his success looked like in Detroit. True. But we still have to be able to create turnovers. We still have to be able to get off the field on third down. And we still have to be able to stop the run. Those are three things that we did not do well, and we still were the 13th ranked defense overall. Imagine if we could stop the run every now and again and get an extra possession for the offense. Imagine if we weren't like 23rd or whatever it was, 5th in sacks. Imagine what we could do. Let's be great on both sides of the ball.
I think I hear you. And I think what's something that's really forgotten, and please disagree with me if you guys want. I think one thing that's forgotten is that before Andrew Billings tore his pec against the Commanders, the Bears had a top 10 run defense. I mean, he was the glue holding that all together because he was creating so much pressure up the middle.
Now you have Turner. As well.
Now you have Turner, you have Javon, you have Grady Jarrett. You have three guys there now. And then Turner, and then hopefully Zach Pickens somehow does something this year, which he's on a thin line right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's making the team. Yeah, I don't think he's making the team.
I mean, the thing is, here's what's ticking me off about the Bears right now is that they were to cut him, they would save almost $1 million in cap, and they would owe him, I think it was like $310,000, which great. That's better than something like that. You know what I mean?
Peace.
The piece, like the money is just not worth it. I think the Bears should. I really had high hopes on him, but the guy's made of glass at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to come out with hot takes too early, but I really think that he is going to convert Javon into an edge, and then it's going to be Turner and Billings up the middle because Javon is 6'6". Now he's down to 303. I messaged him, and I was like, what are we weighing in at now? And he's 303 at the moment. Before, obviously, I guess the nutrition staff is getting a lot better, so on and so forth. So he'll probably put back some more weight. But he was 325 when we drafted him. So he's lost a lot of weight. He can fly off the edge, and there's not a lot of edges above, over 3 bills. Mm-hmm. So Bears move him to the outside. They give Turner more playing time. You have Grady and Turner with Billings. There's a lot you can do with this defensive line, but I hear there's so many unknowns, and that's just the worst part of this whole thing.
But don't you feel Shamar Turner was brought in to kind of take over for a Zach Pickens or a Grady Jarrett or Billings because they are kind of up in age?
Yep.
There.
And then Dio, I'm sorry, but I'm sick of drafting on potential. I want to sign a free agent that's actually done it. So that 2.5 sacks that he got does not move me. We've seen that story before. And I needed somebody because real talk, I don't know what they expected Montez Sweat to do. That is not Reggie White, okay? Montez Sweat is not Julius Peppers. He's not Khalil Mack, where he can just kill the double team no matter what.
He's an all-around guy.
He's an all-around guy.
Yeah.
You need something on that opposite side. Now, to stop the run is very, very key. Now, the problem we're having with our division, we can't sack the quarterback. We got to get pressure.
I agree.
I will tell you this, though, and I want your opinion on this, Nick. I think Kyler Gordon is going to play a massive role in Allen's defense, whether it's pressuring the quarterback whether it's stopping the run, whether it's dropping back and getting interceptions. I mean, we were saying, like, I feel like he is the new Deebo Samuel of the Bears defense. Like, he is going to do everything. And I know Allen said it in his press conference. He said straight up words, he's like, I've been waiting for somebody who can do so much different things that Kyler Gordon can do.
Well, think about it. Who did he have in New Orleans as his safety?
Honey Badger.
Honey Badger.
Mm-hmm.
Who does Kyler play a lot like?
Honey
Badger.
Badger. Comparison for sure, yeah.
So, you know, I had a chance a few weeks back. I got dinner with Josh Blackwell. And this is right after he signed his extension. Our girlfriend, like, it was us four. It was our girlfriends. We were all just hanging out, having a couple drinks and some good grub. And I asked him, I'm like, and this is before Kyler signed. I was like, who are we looking out for this year that's going to be a difference? And he didn't even hesitate. He's like, Kyler Gordon. He's like, that dude is going to be an absolute monster in Allen's defense. He's bringing so much energy. And we saw what he did against, especially against Seattle. I mean, 4 tackles for loss as a defensive back is super impressive, to say the least.
Explosive. He gets past the offensive lineman like they're nothing. He just gets low and just, man.
He's going to be, I think what the Bears are going to do in Allen's scheme is I think what they're going to use Gordon as is they're going to just use him as a huge blitz package because the Bears have Terrell Smith, who we saw can definitely stop anything that goes by him. You have great depth at the defensive back position. And then on top of it, too, you brought in Zay Frazier from San Antonio, who is a huge blitzer as well. So the Bears are going to be you're going to see some jailbreak blitz this upcoming year from the Bears. And I think that they're going to be a very dangerous defense when it comes to the blitz. Like last year, we're complaining, we don't blitz a lot. Eric Washington and Flus, they don't do that. I think we're going to see a whole new Bears defense, which
I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
It's going to be very exciting.
So let me ask you this, Nick, though, with that just being said, with Frazier and all those guys coming in, does that take Tyreek off the field? Does that allow because I feel that in Dennis Allen's tradition with that 4-3, he doesn't run a lot of nickel.
Right.
So I feel that Kyler will be kind of, going back to his natural position a lot more. Lockdown corner. You got 2 lockdown now with him and Jalen. But now what do we do with the safety position in the linebacker? Because I want Jaquan Brisker to play. I know Jonathan Owens wants to play, but Kevin Byard's getting a little old. Like, that secondary could be awesome if everybody's healthy. I think the 2 people that you just – I think Tyreek Stevenson is the odd man out. I really do.
So one thing I want to share that's in common with all 3 safeties that you just said, they're all in the last year of their contract.
Correct.
And he's mentioned that Gordon is potentially going to go to that safety position. So I could see them moving him there in the middle of the season. And Al Harris, I see Skylark AO8 saying Al Harris was secondary. Best coach you could have possibly brought in for that position. And I think that he's going to move guys around. He's going to see where he can go. To answer your question about Tyreek Stevenson, Al Harris would not have gotten hired and 10 minutes later sent Tyreek Stevenson to camp, not only for his game, but also for the professional side of things. We obviously saw that with the Commanders game where he was a young defensive back. I think Tyreek, with 2 years left on his contract, he is going to have to show a lot the next couple of years. But we have him for 2 more years. So we're definitely going to use him. I think the starting defensive back, if it were to start today, is going to be Byard and Brisker with Owens backing everybody up. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have Tyreek and Johnson on the outside. And then they're going to somehow have Kyler just kind of being
he's going to be like a linebacker. He's going to be a nickel. He's going to be multiple things.
Yeah, I think he's going to be multiple things. And the Bears got, Ruben Hypolite, that's what I was saying earlier, to convert him to a safety because the Bears have to have that.
Right, but you still haven't addressed the Sam linebacker position, which in Dennis Allen's defense is very, productive normally. But if you're saying Kyler Gordon is going to do this hybrid, now you're kind of mixing and matching, and you're bringing other people on the field.
Yeah, and I think that it's not just going to be him because Ruben Hypolite is a linebacker, so he has to be that. But the Bears are going to throw so many. I think and this is what Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles both said at the combine, and you guys can quote me on this, is that they said they're going to constantly be making the offense think who's where. Because if you were to put Kyler Gordon at a linebacker position, no one can stop him. He's too small. He's going to get under tight ends.
And
he's going to fly past people, and he's going to make big plays because he can tackle. I mean, we've seen him tackle tight ends at 6'6", 280 at no time.
Absolutely.
So they're going to be playing with him in a lot of different areas. There's so many things that this Bears defense can do. I think that the secondary and linebacker is totally set. We are set for a long time. When it comes to the defensive line, there's questions now. I think that's going to get answered later because we did bring in, I think it's Ron Smith. I think his name is our new defensive, or no, it's he worked with Myles Garrett. His last name's Garrett as well. Mason Garrett, I think.
Mason Garrett, yeah. No,
Mason Garrett.
Some Garrett.
Yeah, I'm definitely wrong on his name.
Yeah.
But he's a wizard as well. And then Dennis Allen obviously is very good at the line. I think the line is going to see a big step. I think Eric Washington was definitely a little overhyped. I don't think he was ready for the defensive coordinator position. And these guys are going to flourish a lot better in that, especially with Grady Jarrett bringing in that knowledge.
The tutelage for one is definite. But you're saying
in a long time tutelage.
You're saying Hippolyte, less London Fletcher, more Jamal Adams.
Bingo. That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Great way to put it.
Okay. Well,
yeah, and I think like what JB was
saying,
saying,
and we were like, "Bam, we're just gonna start talking about stuff."
I think it was like when JB was talking about the injury type things and how you said Owens is going to be backing up the safe. Let's also not forget Kyler Orton could back up any position in the second.
Any position he wants.
So I mean that's just something that's. God, it's a dream to have. I'm so happy we locked them up.
I think that, and you know, our defense, it's not that our defense has been bad. On paper last year, they were bad, but you got to consider the time of possession. If you look at it in the first half of the season to the second half, the defense was on the field way too long. On top of it, you have a defensive coordinator that wasn't ready, that took over after Flus. So they were practically coaching themselves. And that's where I wish I saw Tremaine Edmonds kind of take over a little bit more.
He blew me.
He had a rough year.
Pause moment on that one.
But if you look on paper, with Tremaine Edmonds, he's a fantastic ball player and he's only 27 years old.
Yeah.
Like he needed someone like a Dennis Allen. He just needed that. He had a good defensive coordinator in Buffalo. He comes to Chicago. He's expected to be the guy. But Tremaine, he's so young that I'm the one that criticizes Tremaine all the time. I mean, I will say that. But I think that this year, Dennis Allen is really going to open him up a little bit more. And the one thing, and TJ Edwards, we don't even have to talk about him. He earned that contract. He's
absolutely agreed.
He's a dog.
Agreed.
I don't agree with getting rid of Sanborn, even though we didn't use him. He was a great depth piece. That wasn't a good move because Dallas paid him $1.3 million.
Yeah, I mean it didn't make.
And he's going to play in Dallas. That's the crazy part.
And you know what? Just hear me out. He's going to be like
Hunter Hillenmeyer.
Not a Hunter. You know, I was going to put him a little higher. What is it? Zach Martin? No, not
okay, I like Zach Martin.
Yeah, I think he's going to be he's smaller, but he's got that drive, and he's a Chicagoland kid. He's from Lake Zurich. He's not big, but God, that guy plays. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
No. I could rant all day. You please cut me off.
No, I actually like what you were saying as far as Edmonds, because when we got Tremaine, I was so excited because he was just that dog on the Buffalo Bills. And when Eberflus got him, Eberflus just kept him kind of sitting there calm, you know, just being that smart middle linebacker, not making mistakes, not trying to push. Like, I didn't like the way they used Edmonds. And Edwards was allowed to just kind of go off, and 100% he earned that contract. But I do agree. Allen is going to actually turn him into something special again.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Nick. I think a guy like Tremaine, tell the truth, to be honest with you, when the draft came up, I wanted Tremaine over Roquan Smith because 100%. I said, here it is that you got a guy, Roquan Smith, he's about 6'1" on a good day. And you got Tremaine Edmonds, this guy that runs just as fast, taller,
big as hell,
bigger, you know. So he gave me Urlacher vibes. And I just think, like, in Eberflus's system, they haven't been able to use him right because I think he's a guy that can rush the pass, a guy that can be good off the blitz, a guy that when you have the DTs that can keep the guards off of him, you know, he can sit up there and he can make all these plays. We already knew coming into that free agency period when we signed him that him and TJ Edwards were two of the best linebackers in football as far as in pass coverage. You know, I think he may have been number 1 and Edwards may have been number 5 or something like that.
Yep.
You know, and you can see he's a guy that can, when the ball is thrown towards him, he can pick the ball off. He has nice hands. So I think this would be a big year because I think Dennis Allen would get more out of him than Eberflus did, because we all know in that cover 2 system, it sort of limits defensive players. Like when you got Jalen Johnson, who wants to be the corner that wants to sit up there and follow the best wide receiver around. In the cover 2 system, he's not going to be able to do that. They don't allow him to do that.
He doesn't. He's in coverage too much. And remember, last year was an indictment because of injuries as well. The year before that is when he had the 4 interceptions because they had a true nickel where he just cut the field in half. Edwards had this side of the field, he had other sides, and Kyler was lining up on either or. But when you have him as a straight up middle linebacker in Eberflus's scheme, all he did was sit and watch and read and react. That was not what he did well in Buffalo. It's just not.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think this roster, from a depth on the defensive side, the defense is much more rounded for everything that Dennis Allen needs. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see where he puts people. And there's still time to bring in names. And we still have money to bring in people for camp competitions. The Bears have endless opportunities. And with the players that they have now, this is perfect for the scheme. I think that they're just waiting to see who gets cut, who moves forward. And because there's going to be a lot of cuts coming up here, especially after camp. And I guarantee you there's some undrafted rookie free agents that the Bears had their eyes on that went to other teams that are probably going to get cut. And they'll be able to be literally 2.0 of everyone that they have on their roster right now. Yeah. So I think that there's still going to be some cooking, but this defense, I think, is still going to, I think this is a top 10 unit now that they have Dennis Allen in place.
Yeah, definitely. And it's crazy. Like we were sitting up there saying, even you're going to get some financial cuts from teams, you know, some players that they can't keep, that they decide, hey, look, we got to move on from this guy making too much money, you know, which brings me to my next question. I know I'm going, like I said, I subscribe. I watch your show a lot, you know. I know sometimes you have been a critic of Ryan Poles. You know, a lot of people are. I tell people all the time, I'm a fan of Ryan Poles. I think he's been doing something that we haven't had a GM do here in a very long time. And then plus with Kevin Warren coming in, that just sort of puts like a cherry on top of it, because he's a guy that it seems like in the first time in probably Chicago Bears history, there is someone that actually knows football that the McCaskies are actually listening to and said, okay, I'm going to let you guys run it. So tell me, what do you think how do you think that our boy Ryan Poles, how he has done so far in this offseason, the last couple? Because like I tell people all the time, there's been a consistency throughout the NFL that the Chicago Bears have won all season, the last 3 years, which means that as a GM, you're doing your job. The thing is that your coaching staff has
got to use them.
I think you said it best, is that the Bears actually hired a guy who knew what he was doing. And think about all the crap. So think about piles of crap, right? And how much has been piled on over the last 4 GMs. Sure, we went to the Super Bowl back in 2006. We had a good unit, but we were good for 3 years. And then we had 2 years in 07, 08 where we're like, crap, we're rebuilding again. And 2009 to 2013, we were competitive, but we fell apart always at the worst moments. And then you had 2013 to all the way to 2018. You had nothing going on during that time period. You had 2018, 2020, where you did go to the playoffs. Great. But 2018 obviously was a good year. I've always called the Bears the duct tape team. They duct tape their problems on these crazy contracts. They put it on, and then they're like, okay, let's hope this works out. Ryan Poles came in, wiped it. And obviously, as I think all 4 of us can say this, emotion definitely drives us as Bears fans. That's why we're the best fans, because we care so much about what's going on. I tell my coworkers, I tell everybody during the season, I have Bears depression or Bears high. And when we win, obviously that Monday, I come in, I look at all the Packers fans, I flick them off, whatever. Definitely get in trouble with HR, whatever.
It's worth it.
What Ryan Poles has done is he has stripped this team down to the very, very bottom. He said himself in his interview, he's like, this is going to take 3 years to do. Year 1, you're 3-14. The following year, okay, you do a little bit better. Then the third year, you take a little bit of a dip. But now 3 years are completed. You've had this is his 4th offseason as GM. And now we're looking at our roster going, you got a Joe Tooney. You have a 4-time Super Bowl champion offensive guard, 6 Super Bowls total in his career. He's blocked for Tom Brady. He's blocked for Patrick Mahomes. You got Jonah Jackson, 1-time Pro Bowler. And I know that he's at his issues, but he does have a good resume, and Ben Johnson vouches for him.
Better than what we had.
What was that?
Better than what we had.
Better than what we had. You go out and get Drew Dahlman. You go out and get Roma Dunze. You got DJ Moore. I mean, I posted about the trade today, the recap of it. He's done a great job. And I've criticized Poles because I got to keep reminding myself, and I'm happy you called me out on it, because I have ripped on him before, and I've asked for him to get fired. But then you take that wind down, you take it for a minute, you're like, okay, this is the best cap roster we've ever had with talent that you can still build every year in and year out. Bears are already projected to have the number 9 most cap next season. And that's with all of our contracts. Yeah, that's after Kyler Gordon's extension, Edwards' extension, not even extending Tooney yet. You extended Jackson. You haven't paid Caleb Williams yet. You paid DJ Moore. You paid Cole Kmet. You paid your guys. There are a lot of things that Ryan Poles is doing, and he's done it all right from a building perspective because he has a football mind. He comes from the Chiefs. He knows what it took to build the dynasty that the Chiefs have had the last, 6-7 years. I know that the record doesn't show it, but you got to start somewhere. And I think that he has built this thing now to a point where you can just keep building onto it. And that's how bad this roster was for so long. So I give Ryan Poles a B as our general manager, but this year brought him up from a C+ because of how good he did, if that makes sense. So I think Ryan Poles has done a good job, but now we got to see it on the field. We got to see it perform. You bring in Ben Johnson, there's no more ifs, ands, or buts. You just got to get the job done at this point.
And I feel like you got to give a shout out for the first time I could ever say this to Bears ownership by saying, hey, I'm going to go spend the money on the best available coach out there. And then I'm going to surround him with very good former head coaches who maybe not have had success, but they had a lot of success as coordinators. They had a lot of success at the other positions that they were at. So, I mean, I got to give ownership a shout out, and I don't think I've ever fucking done that for the Bears.
You got to look at it as Nagy was a used car salesman before he was an intern at the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, he's got that little mentality in him. Nothing against used car salesmen. I got 2 of them in my family, and I say it to him all the time. I will say this, is that you have a coordinator with 2 NFC North titles under his belt. You have a guy that's vouched by the entire league. No one knew who Matt Nagy was. The only person vouching for him was Andy Reid, and that makes Andy Reid look good because he brought in good coordinators. I think that Ryan Poles also had a history. You bring in Ben Johnson, who has really good history as a coordinator, but then you brought in Dennis Allen, who doesn't have good history as a head coach, but fantastic history as a coordinator, and now he's in his position, and he's also going to help out Ben Johnson to know what it means to be a head coach, considering Allen has that experience of what it's like to own a locker room, respect of the players. And I will say this, is that Ben Johnson has taken out every single individual room, DBs, linebackers, defensive tackles, wide receivers. He's taken them all out individually and gotten to know them. I can't even tell you the last time a head coach has done that for the Bears.
Very fair.
So the culture is so strong. And going back to the McCaskies, you got to tip the hat to Kevin Warren. Now just stick with me for a second. Kevin Warren ran the Big Ten. Big Ten's been producing some pretty darn good ball clubs and players. Kevin Warren probably sat George McCaskey down and said, listen, if you spend $13 million on a coach, you keep him a top 10 paid coach. If you look at all the top 10 paid coaches, they were all in the playoffs -1 this past year, and it was because that coach was in a rebuild. You need to spend money. And $13 million of the McCaskey's net worth is less than 1% of what it is. So Kevin Warren just had to say that, and McCaskey was like, oh, okay. I guess I can do that. So he's listening now. Got to give hat off to Kevin Warren too. But I do want my stadium built sooner than later. So, you know,
in Arlington.
I'm gonna be the Grinch. I'm gonna push because Ryan Poles, his first 3 seasons has been crap, and I don't care about like. If you're a former offensive lineman, the one thing I expect you to do is be able to identify offensive line talent.
It will give you the offensive line thing.
An offensive lineman that never made it in past training.
Yeah, that's always
that. My joke was Ryan Poles stopped drafting and signing players that played like you. Like, stop doing it. And I keep seeing it over and over again now, hitting with a Joe Tooney and all that. I don't know if that's more Ben Johnson and Kevin Warren or if that's Ryan Poles, because when you look at it, that is not a Ryan Poles sign.
Yep.
This is not what he has proven that he's done. I have to still say I'll give Ryan Poles another season. I'm not completely on the Ryan Poles train just yet. It's looking better. He's done some upgrades, which is needed. But again, how much of that was really Ryan Poles versus Kevin Warren and Ben Johnson? You'll never know.
But right? JB, I will say this though, like, and I mean, and I agree 100% with you as far as the offensive lineman goes, because he has failed miserably. Darnell Wright, I think, was the only good offensive lineman that he pretty much drafted, and he's only good. We haven't seen him get great yet because he hasn't really had the continuity or the people around him. But we did have one of the best secondaries in the NFL last year, and he did draft our secondary. We got to give him credit for that. I mean, we did make the trades to get those very good linebackers and everything. Like,
but the one thing that I will say, and this is where we cannot argue, we saw what his lack of line play did to one quarterback.
Agreed.
Let's hope it doesn't happen to the next quarterback.
And I'm hoping Ben Johnson was the one who got in his ear and said that, hey, go get me 3 very good guards so then we could have a successful run game, which will help.
Last year, the glaring number is 68. 68 is not all on the line. It's not all on the coaching. It's not all on the QB. But damn it, that's too high.
48's too high.
Yeah.
Let's just put that out there.
I would have said anywhere over 50 is bad.
Josh Allen only got sacked, 17 times total? I know that's a large thing, but, give me 25.
When the sack total is the same number as some of your linemen that are protecting your quarterback, that's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Nick, we want to thank you for coming on, man. Hey, tell everybody in the comment section where we can find you at, man. I know where I can find you at, but
I know as
go ahead and tell everybody else this.
Yeah. Thanks for. I mean, I'm still good for another 10 minutes, guys. I know.
Let's keep
it running. Keep it running.
Let's keep it going. Okay.
Yeah. No, we're good. We're good.
JB, like I said, JB is the sourpuss of this podcast.
I love it. He says he's the realist, but we call it.
Yeah,
I don't drink the Kool-Aid no more. I drink beer.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, JB. You have every right to think that way of what the Bears have been doing us for this freaking long.
But Nick, when we going back since we're on the polls topic, I told people just like this. The reason why I'm such a big advocate, because the job of a GM is to acquire the talent. Now, we've gone and sit up there the last couple of years. We haven't heard no national pundits or even the local media sit up there and say that the Bears don't have the talent. I think what it is that it's coaching. The last 2 years, the Bears have lost a total of 13 games by 8 points or less. 8 points or less. The last 2 seasons. Now, that's good enough to have you make the damn playoffs them last 2 seasons. And that's where I think there's a lot of rumblings. I don't know how true it is, but there have been rumors that, Ryan Poles, to him, before he got the job, that the Bears basically told him, hey, look, you got between these 3 coaches. Pick one.
And he picked the one he knew.
And tell you the truth, by us being Bears fans, as long as we've been Bears fans, we know that ownership tends to get their ass in the way instead of letting people do what their job is to do. Exactly.
It's all about money. It's all about money.
Exactly.
Oh, that's all Chicago teams.
It's all Chicago.
Every last one of them.
It's sad.
That is.
We could talk about, I don't know if there's any Cubs fans in here, but we could talk about Tucker and the Cubs, like pay that man already, but we're here to talk about the Bears. I have a conspiracy about what happened when we were choosing those 3 coaches. Poles knew he was canning somebody and because it wasn't his choice of coach. He looked at all three and said, all right, who's the cheapest? And whoever's going to hurt the checkbook the least, because we still have to pay Matt Eberflus $12 million this year and $6 next year. We would have been $7 if the Cowboys didn't pay him as million as DC, which good for him. Matt Eberflus is not crying himself to sleep. He's making a lot of money the next couple of years.
I bet.
I think, you know what? Two things I want to go. I want to go back to the buzz killing comment with JB. I love it because we can't all just be simps at the end of the day. 100%. We cannot. There has to be reality. Like with me, there's people that love Braxton Jones. I can't stand the guy. I can't.
I don't think anybody on this panel can stand him. So
thank you. But then I post something which dropping a little hint for tomorrow's video talking about the left tackle position because Poles has made some comments. The guy's not good. He's a 5th round pick for a reason. He just has 36-inch arms. If you look at his knees, they bend in. The guy
he skips leg day because he still can't stop the bull rush ever since he was drafted.
So you guys want to know something crazy? Why he skips leg day? Because the Bears are the only team in the NFL that did not require mandatory lift hours during the season this past year.
Are you serious?
I did not know that. Wow, that sounds like an Eberflus right
there. That speaks volumes right there.
Only team in the NFL. And that is why when you look at on the field, you look at the shape that all of our opponents are in, you know, even the linemen, they're kind of shredded on the arm. Sure, they got the little gut. They got the little floop on the front. That's fine. They're linemen. They're supposed to be big. But you look at our guys, their arms, they got the little jelly roll right here that, you know, that they should not have. They're out of shape. And that's why we were always injured. Always.
Man.
So
I did not know that. That is messed up.
These guys would work out harder in the off season, and then they'd come to camp not having a training program, and they've been training harder in the off season. So then they go to this beautiful Hallis Hall weight room and not even touch it.
Wow.
And when I found out that Coleman Shelton, hate him or not, he was the only offensive lineman consistently working out, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. Darnell Wright did work out. He's also 24 years old, so he's still young. But Braxton Jones, he's built skinny, and then he's got this huge upper body. He's got no level to him. He's got no strength in his lower body. So that is a huge problem with him. And now that he ripped up that ankle that could potentially derail his career, I mean, there's no saving it now. The Bears brought in a new strength and conditioning coach.
As they should have.
As they should. They brought in a new dietitian. Ben Johnson brought in the best of the best. And, well, we did promote the guy that was below our last strength and conditioning coach. But I'm talking to some of these guys that are on the team, and they're saying the workouts are crazy. Good. You should be working hard when you're making over $1 million a year. But Braxton Jones, he's just not the guy. He's a filler. And ironically, his rookie year, he was decent. I don't want decent, though, especially at the left tackle position. You need the best of the best. That is why I wanted Joe Alt over Roma Dunze last year.
Oh, my. Why did we would have had to move last year when I said that?
Yeah, we would have had to move up for Joe Alt. But
I don't care. Move up for him.
I would have loved
We need
that.
the best of the best. When we already had Keenan Allen on the roster, and then you had Tyler Scott, who we had a lot of hope for. Now they low-key derailed his career because
he's out of here now. He's an afterthought.
And he's an athlete, man. I mean, like he can do it all. And that's the thing is the Bears have a ton of talent. And why does everyone succeed when they leave Chicago? Is because Chicago doesn't know how to use their guys. They don't give guys a chance, and that ruins it all. Joe Alt would have solved so many problems for the Bears last year. And I'm very happy that we have Colston Loveland. I'm very happy with the picks that we got. But, you know, you play the game to win. At the end of the day, you don't want good draft picks. I know we're the 3 consecutive offseason champions, and we're building for the future. That's great. But the Bears did not need another wide receiver last year. I love Roma Dunze. I'm happy we have him, but we did not need him. It was more of a luxury, if that makes sense.
I think that was more so.
I think that was a pairing because everybody's trying to
I think that was more so. Let's keep Caleb happy. You know, this was Caleb's guy because remember, that's all we were hearing leading up to the draft time. Oh, Caleb and Rome out there working out together. They're doing this, they're doing that. I think, you know, Caleb probably got to say, hey, Bring this guy on.
But is like Caleb being a rookie, not understanding the speed of the NFL, goes, oh, a wide receiver sounds great, buddy. You want linemen to protect you.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Which he should know that because his last year at USC, he was on the run because his line was trash.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, he knows now.
No, I feel like this is. I'm excited for. I can never pronounce his name. I drop it like freaking hell. The guy from Yale drafted. No, the guy.
Oh,
from Yale.
Karan Amagaji.
Yes.
Oh, Karan.
This is going to be a big year for him because I think a full off season of training. He is not hurt or anything. I did not think he was NFL ready right away because I think he was more of a project. He just had that body that built from head to toe of a dominant offensive lineman. You just needed to bred him more. Like, I'm interested to see what he can do because if you had to tell me him or Braxton Jones starting right now, I'd rather have him.
38-inch arms, 6'5", 320. He's bigger than Jones in every single way. And if you look at that kid's legs, they are tree trunks.
Yeah.
And you put him in his first NFL start.
Yeah, we always talk about this.
Against Greenland was his name, something like that, on Minnesota, who was leading the NFC in sacks.
Greenland,
yeah.
Like,
you just have to say Frazier as the DC. That's all you need to say in that. Flores, my mistake. Flores.
No. Flores looked at that game, at that lineup card, and was like, jailbreak blitz every single time on the left side, and you are going to have a day. What the Bears should have done that game is they should have put Matt Pryor in at left tackle, which they ended up doing later in the game. And that's when things slowed down a little bit. But come on, you can't put a kid that is coming off a major quad injury on Monday Night Football.
Had 2 practices. That's it. Two practices.
Again, the Eberflus are, I think Flus was there still, I believe.
Oh yeah.
That was like one of
his calls.
Yeah, that was. I don't think that was the game that got him fired. It was the game after that, but that was the wake up call game.
Dan Rauscher, our offensive line coach, is already talking highly of Karan, and he said it right away at the meetings in Florida. He was like, the kid was given every opportunity against him. We're not going to do that this year. So I think that if we're talking about the left tackle position, here's what's going to happen is no matter what they say, Braxton is not going to be ready by training camp. There is no way. I think what's going to happen is Ozzie is going to start at left tackle because he was a true left tackle his freshman year at Boston College. And on top of it, they're going to have Karan and him competing because Braxton's on the last year of his rookie contract. Bears cut him. They saved $3.4 million before June 1st. So they got to make that call soon. But again, you want the best of the best there. And Karan was a projected second-round pick as a sophomore. And if he didn't get injured his junior year at Yale with that quad injury, guarantee you the Bears wouldn't have him on his roster. He wouldn't be on the roster right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And the crazy part was me and JB was talking about that. You know, a lot of people poo-pooed on Karan, talking, oh, this guy sucks. Oh, we need to get rid of him. We wasted another pick. I said, how did you come up to that conclusion with a guy that was hurt his last year? He didn't get no training camp, no combine, no nothing.
He was told he's starting 2 days before his first ever start, 2 days before the game.
Yeah, and then the thing is this, like you said, Brian Flores, who I actually wanted to be the Chicago Bears coach, sit up there and saw that the Chicago Bears coaching staff would not even put anybody on this kid's side to help him at all. Just like, oh yeah, go against the leading sack leader in the NFC right now. Just go ahead and go against him all by yourself.
I believe a stat came out for that. Komet was on his side 8 times that entire freaking.
Well, Komet can't block.
Ouch.
We know that. No,
we know that.
We got another game.
You can't complain about that big stiff.
And we don't call him Komet. We call him Big Stiffy.
They call him Big Stiffy.
This is me being a little sour. Like, I like Komet, Chicagoland kid, happy for his contract. Don't block. That's all I gotta say. You see him block, you're like, what are you doing, man?
He had a bad blocking year this year. I am 100%.
But hopefully,
he was pretty good.
Hopefully, Ben Johnson being a tight ends coach and Dan Rocher being who he is, unlock him. Not trying to write him off too soon, but to answer everyone's question, I saw in the comments a few things about answering a question with a question.
Yeah.
I think Karan Amagaji will be a good left tackle. You can't write him off. He was put in the worst position possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it best, Frank. He had a full off season. He's healthy. Let's see what the kid does. If he sucks again, well, then let's talk about it. But Dan Rauscher, we brought in the best of the best. He's made 6 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, 2 of them going all pro, and was a Pro Bowler last year in left tackle for the Dolphins. Armstead, I believe his name is.
Ron Armstead.
Yeah. I think the Bears' offensive line is going to be a lot better. I mean, it is going to be a lot better. Joe Thuney himself has made this offensive line 10 times better. But we got to extend that man, but that's another conversation. At the end of the day, Bears need to just believe in what they got for 1 year longer. They got that kid out of Boston College. They brought in a whole offensive line trades and signings. It's better. Let's just see what they do. But the left tackle needs to get addressed somewhere, somehow this offseason immediately.
Absolutely. Nick, I know you got to go. I just need like 2 more minutes and
you know what?
It out.
10 more minutes. Well, I'll just keep adding 10 more minutes on.
Because we didn't get to address Caleb enough for me. I know Lorenzo Clemens was out there from last week. Wanted to see and talk a little Caleb this week. What are not only your thoughts, but your predictions for him? Not only learning third OC in 2 years, that's third head coach technically, right? What do you foresee versus what your reality actually lets you know what's going to happen with Caleb? Go ahead.
Well, when we took Luther Burden, it wasn't even the Colston Loveland. It was Luther. When we took him, I was like, this kid's going for over 4,000 yards. There's no doubt about it. What Ben Johnson, I was like, all right, new offense, got to get him up to speed. It's going to take a sec. You know, maybe he still threw for what, 3,700 yards this year?
3,500.
35.
Yeah. It was over 4,000 all purpose, but
4,000 all purpose. I think that Caleb, and the fact that he didn't throw an interception for what, 7 games with 2 different OCs calling it, very impressive. I think what's going to happen is Caleb's going to throw for 4,000 yards plus. I think that
year one
is going to have
new offense, 4,000 yards plus. You're calling that
4,000 yards plus passing. I'm going 4,500 plus total, and he's going to get 2 rushing touchdowns this year.
So I think he's going to run less now.
I think that it's going to be less, but the opportunities for him to go for longer yardage is going to be more.
Okay.
I think Ben Johnson is going to give him the opportunity on rollouts. You got big blockers. You have Rome's a good blocking wide receiver. DJ can pop a couple bodies. I think there's going to be a lot of movement up there. And then also having the 2 tight end package, he's going to open up lanes for him at the end of the day. You throw Roshan in the backfield, you send everybody to the left, blocking Caleb, he's going to find a hole. So I think it's going to be 4,500 plus total. I think it's going to be 4,000 plus passing. I think he's going to throw still under 30 touchdowns, but I think his interceptions are going to stay around 6 to 8. I think he's going to be more aggressive passing this year in Ben Johnson's offense. And if he can do what he did with Jared Goff, I think he's going to do way more with Caleb. But everyone has to set that expectation. Being a realist, JB, being a realist, it's his first year in the system.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. I see 4,000 yards maybe next year. But, I mean, I could be wrong. I'd give him 1 more year as long as I see improvement going on throughout the year. That's all I want to see. But I think the biggest question is Caleb, and I think with Ben Johnson as your coach, being able to coach him, you got a good quarterbacks coach now too. He needs to improve on his deep ball accuracy. That was flat out
22%.
I'm not even. I'm a fan of Caleb Williams, but I'm not going to sugarcoat this. He sucked ass on the deep ball, and it's because he never planted his feet when he was throwing those deep balls. He always tried to Patrick Mahomes that shit like he did in college, and you can't do that here.
Ask for a learning year. I love it.
You love the shades too.
Wait, if I had my shades, I'd join him, but I don't have them. What I'll say at the end of the day is that I think Caleb went through the greatest learning year as a rookie ever. What it's like to be in a locker room that's broken, what it's like to be with 2 different offensive coordinators, and on top of it too, what it's like to be the Chicago Bears quarterback and what that means from a fan's perspective. And he handled it with all class. Caleb's a very classy guy, very nice guy. honestly, a lot of people are like, oh, he's not that big. So I was walking into a restaurant. Caleb was walking out. And I had the opportunity. I literally dabbed him up real quick. I was like, hey, you got this. He is a huge guy. Like, there is no denial about that.
He's like solid.
He's solid, and that's why he can cannon the ball as much as he can. He's been working. He's been training. I think there's going to be significant improvement to that deep ball. And now that you have Luther Burden, the best yard after catch wide receiver in the NCAA, and then you have Colston Loveland, who's 6'6", 248 before an NFL weight room, put on another 8 pounds. I think that he's going to have big targets to throw to. I think he's going to have more time. And I think the deep ball is going to be more accurate because on those 22%, if we could do an all 22, there's Don Burr. Haven't heard from that guy in a long time.
So he's a fan of your guys' show too. What a shock.
I knew he was going to come in here.
He's always on with us. We always try to get him to come on in the panel, be respectful when we play the Lions, but he won't do it.
Don Burr's scared of us. Detroit versus everybody, he's scared. But anyway, I think that Caleb, if you can go back and make an all 22 of every single one of his deep balls and look at the pressure he was under, yeah, he's going to have time in the pocket now to sling it deep. So I'm pretty excited to see what he does. But JB, I'm being realistic about it. I see it going from maybe 22 to, from an accuracy standpoint, maybe into the 40s. I still think he's going to struggle a little bit. But next year,
40's not bad. I'm
not bad, but I think next year that's when you're going to see him.
But I'll take that because I'm looking for incremental success. We always argue on here. My pick originally, and Fouls was too for a minute, was to keep Justin Fields.
No, I was too.
But that's a whole nother story. But some of us knew that Caleb, under Cliff Kingsbury's tutelage, coming to a Shane Waldron system was very different than Jaden Daniels coming from a pro system going to Cliff Kingsbury, which is why we stated that obviously Jaden was more pro ready just because of who he was with.
Also, he had Scary Terry.
Well, no, because Caleb had DJ, so we can't say.
It's true. And I mean, he technically had Keenan Allen too. So I mean, he had more weapons in my opinion.
Or whatever.
But if I'm not mistaken, the Commanders got 3 of the top offensive linemen in that free agency as well. There's two of the top offensive linemen in that free agency to help out as well. We didn't.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying we're looking at a similar path. My thing was, to Lorenzo's point, tempering Caleb down, because some of the times, shout out to my guy Barrelissimo over there across the pond, there are too many times when Caleb had the easy throw, but he wanted to roll out. He had the clean pocket, and he just felt like he had to make the superstar Madden icon play. And that's what we're saying, like, Ben Johnson has to temper him down, because you look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff was very efficient, very accurate. Caleb is very proficient, but very erratic.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
He threw 6 interceptions on paper, but I think I saw a total he should have had a total of 13.
Something like that.
Right. It was weird, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we say that those interceptions the following season, because they get your tendencies, those aren't always going to be open. And if he doesn't learn, God help this kid. If he doesn't learn how to hit the check down.
Yeah, JB, and I know we always come back with you on that. I don't disagree with you on it. There were a lot of interceptions of his that were dropped, but at the same time, how many touchdowns of his were dropped too?
Yeah.
Well, no, it goes both ways.
It does. It was a season. Yeah.
Keenan, Rome had 2 for sure. Keenan had 1.
Komet had 1.
Tyler Scott had 1. Velvet. Did Velvet have 1?
Velvet had 1.
Velvet had 2, right?
I remember the one in the end zone that just rolled right out of his hand.
You're almost at 30 touchdown passes right there. And if all his picks would have gotten caught, he'd be 30-13, which
I would have took that.
I would have took that. I would definitely took that.
20-6 looks a lot sexier, though. I will say that. But
30 touchdowns, you don't see a Bear quarterback do that often either, though. So.
No. I think Caleb, at the end of the day, is in for a big season, to say the least. I think that if Caleb can learn, just like he said his rookie year, mouth closed, ears open, I think that Caleb's in for a very, very big season. And I don't want to – I know I said high expectations. I want to see it on paper first, and I want to see him do it specifically against NFC North teams.
Do you have the Bears going to the playoffs? I do not.
I don't. I've been burned. So I have a superstitious thing, and I've not said those words out loud yet. That if I don't say those words, one scenario will happen positively. If I do say the words, I'll be heartbroken.
Adversely. Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to say I'm optimistic.
That's Bears fans right there for you. We're all like this. So.
I'm optimistic.
Optimistic.
I'm an optimistic for a growth season, to say the least.
Let me ask you this, because we do got our beloved Don Burr on there. Their quarterback, Jared Goff, is going to take a massive dip this year without Ben Johnson.
I was going to say it earlier. I couldn't agree more. I think that Jared Goff needs a guru in order for him to succeed.
100%. He's a systems quarterback.
Sean McVay, very talented offensive mind. But the thing is that he needed someone with experience, and look what he did with Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Ben Johnson can prove it with a guy that was not fully developed and later in his career developed him. Imagine what he could do with someone that's only 1 year into their career.
Yeah.
Well, it should be a clean slate is what it should be.
I think Detroit has taken a massive dip this year.
But I told you,
they still have a lot of talent. They still got a lot of talent. I ain't questioning that, especially that running game.
But I told you, Morton is not a chump. He studied under Gruden, under Peyton. He been under the best of the best.
Matt Nagy was under Andy Reid. Who the fuck cares? Like nobody.
Nagy was a used car salesman. You heard what Nick said.
I think that Declan, considering the fact that Sean,
you like Declan?
Yeah, considering the fact that he was vouched for by Sean Payton and Ben Johnson was running to the phone to call that guy. I've made the joke, and it's funny because Declan, that's why I was featured on 1920 Football Drive.
Okay.
Is that I was talking about Declan. I still think Declan's going to be a coffee boy this year a little bit.
Oh.
But in a good way. I think he's going to learn so much from Ben Johnson. And then Ben Johnson's going to be given the keys next year if things go well and be like, all right, let's see what you can do. And if something goes wrong, I'm going to take over again.
Former tight ends coach as well, right?
Former tight ends coach as well. So he was a former tight ends coach with the Saints, with the Broncos, and then with the Iowa Hawkeyes. So that tree makes things going.
Don Burr, that was before we knew Ben Johnson really was going to be like this. So, I mean, Ben Johnson was we'll see, Don Burr. Still waiting for you to come on and actually talk to us instead of troll.
Oh, we're not saying Jared Goff is a bum by no stretch of imagination.
No, I'm just saying he's going to take it.
He went to the Super Bowl, but was that really him, or was that Todd Gurley and Sean McVay?
I think the best way to
David Montgomery and Gibbs now.
I think the best way to put it is that he won't be in MVP talks anymore.
No.
Well, maybe not this year.
Yeah, we'll
because the team is still stacked. Like we got to, and Dan Campbell
had a good offseason. I give him that free agency wise.
They covered. When I was watching the draft, and I was doing this on purpose, watching NFC teams, everybody that had, you know how on the bottom they say wide receiver, tight end, whatever their needs were, every round Detroit checked off one of their needs. Like, and so did Minnesota. That's this guy's guy. I'm not talking about JJ, but that's this guy's guy. And then the Packers, I mean, they weren't the sexiest, but they did make the playoffs. So
barely.
If it wasn't for that running back, that freaking
Josh Jacobs.
Had a monster. If Josh Jacobs was not picked, that team would not have made the playoffs. That's
if the Bears did miss that field goal, Packers would not have made the playoffs.
That is fair.
Exactly, because they lost the game to the Texans. I forgot who they lost to. That they weren't supposed to lose to. And,
earlier in the season, no, they beat the Texans.
Yes, it was something early in the season.
What are you talking about, the Bears?
No, the Packers.
The Packers. Okay.
We had a chance to spoil because we won the first game and we won the last game. The Packers wouldn't have been in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly that Detroit is going to be tough because you didn't lose one coordinator. You lost two. You lost two coordinators, and now you're going to have a team that's going to have to come in and, you know what I'm saying, learn some different things. Damn sure on defense, learn a new defensive system probably. From a new defensive coordinator, and then offensively, they're going to probably be trying to learn and pick up some things too as well. They still have depth. They still have a very dangerous squad. That's if Jameis Jameis Williamson, whatever his name is,
His legal problems.
Yes, if he doesn't sit up there and do what he normally does on the field, which is fuck up, because he ain't got Randall to be like,
Yeah.
he ain't got that no more.
Thank God we got him now.
One thing I'll close out on with the Packers is that
Can we get a
that
fuck
Matt
Green Bay?
LaFleur is scared. He is terrified. I mean, the fact that he's like, oh, Ben Johnson, don't really know him. You know him. He sleeps rent-free in your head. But
He just don't like him. That's what it is.
he doesn't like him because he's not the shiny new toy in the NFC North anymore.
Correct.
So, and also, it's kind of Matt LaFleur's fault if he's an offensive guru that Green Bay has never had a wide receiver one. Like, come on, man. You had Christian Watson. You had Dobbs. You had a lot of guys that can go to other teams and be wide receiver one, and you can't make any of them work. That's a problem. And they overpaid. What was it, Aaron Banks, who the Bears were linked to? Thank God we didn't get him. Green Bay is going to be such a mess in 2 years, cap wise.
Yeah.
That remember that the duct tape analogy I did? That's what Green Bay is doing right now.
That's what they're doing.
Because with that Jordan Love contract, they're screwed. That's all I gotta say.
It's an albatross, but you know what I heard? I heard they're going to scale back like they did Patrick. He's just going to keep restructuring. But
Yeah, but is
and they're
gonna save
losing.
that
Aren't they
team?
losing Alexander next year? Jair is gone next
Yeah,
year.
yeah. They're not gonna be able to re-sign him with the contracts that we're dealing with right
They
now.
want him gone anyway. He's a cancer to that team, man.
I've heard that too. That he is a real locker.
Yeah, but he's the heart and soul of that defense. They got rid of Zadarius Smith. Everybody's gone of that old defensive regime.
That's why I would love, and we started the show off with it. If Zadarius Smith came to the Bears, which first of all, he would complete the NFC North tour.
I'm going to say, yes, he would. Damn.
He would play for every team. Yeah.
I would love it because he's coming off a 9-sack season. And on top of it, too, he's going to go up and be like, all right, you all got rid of me. You didn't keep me. I'm here. And he's going to grab. He's still in great shape. He's still training. That if we were to go with an edge, that would be my number one option.
I like Zadarius Smith, and he's still young enough to produce. I like him.
Yeah, he's 31, 32.
I thought I saw 31.
Yeah, so coming off a 9-sack season, he's still got fuel in the tank for sure, and he's reliable. He doesn't get injured, which is good.
Yeah,
so, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. I love that Don Burr is he's probably sitting. What do we say? A lot of people said he sits in his basement with like 5 monitors going of all the different
God, Don Burr hops on every Chicago podcast.
We love his view, man. We love his view.
I don't mind.
Yeah,
I know, like, sometimes I look at yours, he'd be on there. Sometimes I look at ESPN 1000, he'd be on there. I'd be on the Score, he'd be on there. For Sean C.
I want
to be on.
I want to
not
say
too
this
much on Don Burr, fellas. Remember, he is serving our country. He's in a submarine.
I like Don Burr. I'm just saying where he's always popping up at.
Are we sure he's in a submarine? Because he is on every freaking podcast. They can't have submarine.
He has to be, because think about the submarine. They got all those screens. Everyone's sleeping right now.
So they're just sitting there on the freaking boat watching us.
Don Burr's like, guys, you gotta watch me cook right here. Watch me cook a little bit, like, and then everyone's sitting there like.
I will say this, Don Burr, you keep praising Jared Goff. Okay, I mean, understand. We're not saying he's a bad quarterback. I've never said he's a bad quarterback.
That was, Don. That was low. That was low, Don.
I will say this for you, Don Burr. I saw a stat out there a few weeks ago. Jared Goff was bottom 10 in fourth quarter performances last year, while Caleb Williams was top 3. I mean, you can't. Jared Goff is not the quarterback you want with the ball in your hand and winning the game.
No,
he's not.
Well,
and guess what? You're not winning a Super Bowl with a quarterback like that.
Have you heard a lot of excuses? Because since we're gonna do on this Detroit thing, let's just go ahead and kick it. Kick the tires on it. Have you heard how much Detroit fans tend to blame Ben Johnson?
Yeah, I know. I love this.
For their loss against Washington State. Ben Johnson was sitting up there thinking about his job with the Bears.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Nick.
Yeah, I can't.
I've seen it, and I just laugh because I'm just like, oh, I remember when I broke up with my first girlfriend.
Right? That's actually a very good comparison on that one.
No, you know what I remember?
I
remember when people played football and didn't make excuses.
I can't remember. I can't remember the exact number, guys. What did Detroit finish with points wise in that game? Was it 31?
Yeah, something like that.
And
It was like
your
40
quarterback
something
threw
to
5
31.
interceptions. Your quarterback threw 5 interceptions, and you still scored 31 points, and you're blaming your coach. I don't get that.
Hey,
Detroit fans didn't have the playoffs for 30 years, so they don't know what to do.
They know how to choke when they have to do it.
It is what it is. We'll see Detroit real soon. I know, Nick, you got to go, so we're gonna go ahead and thank you for coming.
To get you on again, man. It was great.
Hey, let everybody in the chat know where we can find you at. I know where I can find you at, but let everybody in the chat know where we can find you at.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Ton of fun. Definitely my girlfriend's going to be like, where were you? Because
talking Bears.
But you guys can find me at Just Another Year Chicago Bears on YouTube, @JShy_Bears on Twitter, or just J Chicago Bears on Instagram. Honestly, guys, had a ton of fun today. Can't wait for the season. I know it's right now. We have now re-entered the dark period of where there's not much to talk about, but we will find ways. We will find ways to just keep things going. But Bears rookie minicamp starts on Friday. So that'll go through the weekend. Ton of things coming out there. And then on top of it too, next week, I will have a undrafted rookie free agent guest coming on. So don't miss out on that, but it's going to be a good time. But guys, thank you so much for having me. Ton of fun. And we'll have to do this again before the season starts.
Right, brother. Talk to you.
Please, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, come back.
That right there was Nick from Just Another Year Chicago. You can catch him on YouTube, man. Great guest, great insight. Young brother, man. We love talking to Nick. He's been on here a couple times now. So, hey, I have fun. Talking to him and just getting a wealth of knowledge from him. And like I said, he has a lot of inside connects that, that we don't really know about. Like, we had no idea about the Chicago Bears not doing in-season lifting. Which
was crazy, though.
Crazy. Up, man. Wow, and crazy.
I need to talk to Mama Gordon on that one.
How do you maintain during the season if you don't? When we look at Aaron Donald every other week, man, we just won. I'm lifting. Like, come on, man. Like, and that just goes to show that goddamn Eberflus, man. I just don't like that guy. He was not a leader of men.
Hey, shout out to Nick Rhodey, man. He was out here showing love to us, man. Like we said, hey, you like what you heard, you like what you see from us, remember to like and subscribe to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. This is what we do. We like to bring on guests. Hey, there have been people in our comment section that we also had on to the show just to sit up here and talk Bears, talk Chicago sports with us. We didn't do that. We even had a couple Packers and Minnesota fans come on here and talk smack with us. You know,
Lions fans wouldn't come on though. I don't know why.
We know Don Burr not coming on.
We have a Lions fan that comes on. She works for the network.
Oh yeah, scary. Yeah. We don't really count her. She's like a sister.
She doesn't.
Yeah, she's a sister. We don't count her. But like I said, he said, Foul Mouth will have a few curse words come week 6. Shit, you will too. But anyway, we try to get Don Burr on here. Don Burr, when it all boils down, it's all love. We love talking shit to Don Burr. Don Burr loves talking shit to us.
Makes it fun.
Often. He comes on a lot of Chicago podcasts and talks shit about our Bears. So it's all love. At the end of the day, we love this sport. We love this team. There's really not too much else to talk about, fellas. I mean, we basically covered it all tonight. So shit, let's just get into some fucking shout outs. What a great show. Frank the Tank.
All right, I got a fun shout out, and I'm happy Bullets is on to listen to this shout out. Here we go.
I think I know where you're going with this.
17 consecutive three-pointers missed. The worst three-point shooting in playoff history.
I knew.
And the Timberwolves still eliminated and beat Princess James. Sorry, guys. You went and got this guy the best offensive player in the NBA, in my opinion. At least top 3, easily. And you still lost.
What an idiot.
That's a fact. And I'm not dissing the Lakers because I'm with JB. I'm a Laker fan. I love the Lakers. I love the Lakers my whole life. But as long as that little freaking crybaby is on the team, I will always root for them to lose. When he leaves, I'll root for the Lakers to win again.
Amen.
So I
flag back up.
gotta give that shout out to the Timberwolves, to our guy Ant, who literally made LeBron James his bitch in that series. That's my shout out. Bam! Mic drop.
Yes, it is. All right, JB, the stat man.
Hey, that's gonna be hard to follow.
I bet it is.
I'm just gonna say, hey, shout out to you guys because you know what Tuesdays mean to me. And yeah, Frank, you just that's the ether.
I feel good about that right now.
Burn it down. That freaking Rollins style, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm a revolutionary. I'm a visionary. Hey, come on with it. Shout out to Ant-Man. And shout out to the Queen because you did your best, but it just wasn't good enough as usual. And, you know, you'll never be Michael Jordan. That's it. Shout out to Cookie Kanish. Hey, New Harper came in. I'm thinking, I'm feeling New Harper's really, really on this. I love New. Thank you, brother, for coming in and chiming in often and early. Hey, my man Bullets, my brother from another, came in with that Cali Love West Side. I always love when Bullets come back in. Bears Down came back and chimed in. We appreciate you, Bears Down. TTNL Runaway. I know we've been trying to get Don Burr on, but next to Don Burr, the person I want to get on probably a little bit more is TTNL Runaway. I would love TTNL Runaway to get on. Bullet, you're right. Shout out to the Bulls. They're a sucky organization. They fumbled through their throws. AK and them, go back to that comment, please. Don't want to finish reading. You know, I have been waiting for 88. And you know what? You're right. Michael Jordan is not walking out of no tunnel in the 32 teams in the NBA. But the closest thing to it right now might be Ant-Man. I'm here for the show.
He plays both ways.
A lot
of people don't do that nowadays, man.
Shout out to TTNL Runaway. Got to get you on. Don Burn, you was in hot and heavy early on. Ron Winarski. I don't know if Ron is new or not. I'm not familiar with that name, but thank you. Skylark came back. Thank you, Skylark. David had 200 on the over. I don't know if David was talking about 200 on the over because Cleveland blew a lead and lost, so Cleveland is now down 0-2 to the Pacers.
They lost today?
They lost.
Damn.
Didn't see that one coming.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a text from Shawnee Chaplin letting me know that they came back and lost. It was like 120 and 119. Like, where they do that at? Sound like some shit the Bulls would do, but anyway. So thank you, Ron, for chiming in. Leah, thank you for chiming in, Leah. Logan, my main man, thank you for chiming in. Hope that baseball season's going good for you, little brother. Diab is also a worker of the network, has his own show on Sundays. Thank you for chiming in, Diab. Loki Del Rivero out there in Mexico. Thank you for chiming in, Bears fans around the world. We love it. Shout out to Shiny C for chiming in. Appreciate the love. We also have Jeanette Johnson, one of our P1s. Thank you, Jeanette. Kasim, we hadn't seen you in a lot. Kasim asked about Austin Booker. We kind of talked about him a little bit last week. That opposite side edge is getting a little crowded. None of them are game changers right now. We got to do some get some training and some tutelage going on. Got to see what these guys have. Lorenzo Clemens, thank you for chiming in. We appreciate you, brother. The Scrolls came in hot and heavy. We appreciate you, Scrolls. Let's see, who else do we have? I know my man Toussaint came in. I'm trying to figure out what time he came in. There it is, 9:07. My man Toussaint came in. Thank you, Toussaint. We appreciate you. Let's see. My man Jay Grizz, a little bit late, but Jay Grizz came over East Coast. Ooh, Jay, it's a little late for you. I know it's after 10. But thank you for telling me. What happened to the music? It just died. Did I talk to the melody?
Good question. Why did it die?
Mm-hmm. Did Crook's computer die?
No, Crook had to go let the doggy out to do his business.
Oh, that was all you.
No, I mean, the music was playing. I didn't hit it as it stopped or something. That was kind of weird. I don't know which music he usually plays. Let's see which one. No, that's an old one.
I like it. Let it go. Whatever. Oh, there it is. At 9:28, Diab, JB doesn't even believe in Caleb. Nope. Not until he shows me. Sure don't. Not going to front. Let's see. Who else? And Don Burke got real active.
This was the most active he's ever been. I will admit that. 100% agree with that.
Oh, we got to get. Hey, there's no reason to be shy. Ask New Harper. New Harper came on. He had a good time. Dan Tanner came on. He had a good time. Lorenzo Clemens has been on as a guest and a speaker. He's had a good time. Like, guys, just come on. It's all love. At the end of the day, have a shot, have a beer. Let's talk some sports. You know, it's all love, no matter what side you lay on. I think we're rounding out foul. That's about it because I see a lot of repeats, which is good because that means the chat is lit and the banter is going. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to T Nick, wherever he is. Super producer, Mish. Shout out to SB. Shout out to all the kids at school that said they were tuning in. I appreciate the love. Go Warriors. And if we only have one person, I do mean one, watching the show. She's most affectionately known as the podcast mom, Miss Sandra Mine.
Great shout out, fellas. First of all, I want to shout out to the chat. Chat was lit tonight. Thank you all very much. And remember to like and subscribe to the Chicago Clubhouse podcast on YouTube and whatever social media platforms that we are on. Remember to like and subscribe. Chicago Clubhouse podcast, the Chicago Clubhouse Network. We usually have something on majority of the days. You know, Mondays we have the fantasy show with the Crooked Commish. Tuesdays, the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. Myself, Frank the Tank, JB, our boy T Nick. Wednesdays we have She Says What She Says, Damn It, with Sherry Green, our homegirl. Thursdays, depending on the season, got Bull Split or Plump. Whichever one. Hey, love them both. Friday, hey, it's supposed to be easy, does it? But easy don't do shit lately. So probably won't catch him. And then during the season, during the Chicago Bears season, during the football season, we normally have our pregame show starting around 10 o'clock Central Time. When the game is at noon, starting the Quicker Commish, our boy Chef and our boy Amp. You know, they do the Chicago Bears pregame show. Also, want to give a shout out to you fellas, Frank the Tank, JB. The super producer in the back, the Quicker Commish, our boy T Nick, who couldn't be here. Also, other guy that wasn't here tonight, Mr. Chicago, the mouth of the South, the mouth in the South, I should say, not from the South, but the mouth in the South, Mr. Chicago. I want to give a shout out to our guest tonight, our boy from Just Another Year, Chicago, Nick Rody. Hey, great times, great insight. Can't wait to have the guy back on. Remember, you can also check him out at Just Another Year Chicago on YouTube. Check him out, our boy Nick Rody. Shout out to the kitty. Shout out to Lil Ricky. He came and made a special appearance tonight.
Oh boy, I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks,
it's been a while, man.
Yeah.
How's Grogu actually coming?
I feel like he's a month older now.
I'm gonna have Grogu on next week, man. You know, they can't be in the same area.
Finally healed from that ass whooping that Ricky gave him. So.
Yeah, they really.
Look, I know what you did. You suspended Ricky. That's why he ain't been on. He a month older since he's been on.
He been on punishment for a little while. He don't know how to act. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in tonight.
Yeah,
so
Scrolls, we gonna talk that Scrolls. Scrolls is getting me.
I'm guessing you're talking about the Williams Halliburton.
Yeah,
that's our front office for you.
Looking bad, man. And you know what? I don't blame Pat Williams. I blame the damn front office. They should
blame the front office. It ain't the kids' fault.
Yeah.
And you drafted somebody who's giving you the exact same numbers he did in college. So I mean,
it is what it is. Shout out to my beautiful fiance, soon to be wife. Come next week. So. For Frank the Tank, JB, the super producer in the back, the Crooked Commish, our boy T Nick, I'm 5 Mile C, and my baby boy Pretty Ricky. Guess what, people? We out.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
I'm feeling the wolf. I'm feeling the wolf. I'm feeling the wolf from you.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
Renzo said he's gonna be Ricky's lawyer.
L for love. Good times.
Terrence is
happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Mother Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.